Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the recently renamed Hawkwind's Habitat. We had wanted to go with Hawkwind's Harem, however, that was vetoed by the other half. I had also briefly considered Misdirected Manor, however, that sounded a little too Disney. So, Hawkwind's Habitat it is. Today we're going to be tackling the depths of Darkest Dungeon. Now, it recently came out within about the last 3 weeks. It has been in early release on Steam for almost a year, so there is quite a bit of information out on the internet about it currently. You can go out and take a look at wikis, at questline information, at walkthroughs. I have not done any of that at this point. I have currently spent about 8 hours going through the game. I have managed to get several parties severely damaged. I actually managed to get one party completely wiped out. So we're going to be going through and introducing everybody to the various mechanics built into the game, and I will be learning it right along with everybody else here. We do have a campaign set up currently just for everybody that's hanging around with me here, the Dungeon of Hawkwind. We will go ahead and get that guy loaded. We'll be entering the hamlet initially. The very first time you ever load any new campaign, you're going to get a fabulous voiceover, followed by a very brief tutorial, which grants you a couple of characters that you will be attempting to take down a path to get them into the hamlet. It is entirely possible to get those two characters exceptionally damaged.
All the decadent horrors I have seen pale in comparison to that final, crowning thing. I could not look, nor could I look away.
And yes, I will be taking lots and lots of time for dramatic pauses every time that narrator comes up. The voice-over work in this game is just awesome. I don't know who this gentleman is, but no matter how much he's making, he should be making more. As you can see, the art setup for the game is actually, I don't know if I want to say minimalistic, but it certainly is not terribly graphics heavy. I thought initially, watching some video playthroughs of the game, that I wasn't going to like that very much, but I actually have found that the art style really works with the game. I really get the impression that I'm in a very dark and gothic comic book, if you will. Maybe something by Frank Miller, or something along those lines. Maybe the original Crow series. Even the artwork and very, very limited animations within the game that just work, and I found that I really enjoy it. Now, as you can see, this is your estate as we are starting in week 1 of the game. Absolutely nothing is currently open. No abbey, no sanitarium, no tavern, no guild, no blacksmith, no nomad wagon, no survivalist. We are starting with nothing more than 2 characters, Mr. Reynauld, an apprentice crusader, and Mr. Dismas, an apprentice highwayman. And we will have 2 additional characters available to us on the stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
And yeah, there are going to be a whole heck of a lot of fools and corpses. I have tried starting the game 4 times now, I believe, and I have never gotten anything different than this Plague Doctor and this Vestal for my initial land.
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
Now, the very first thing that I recommend doing here is taking your initial currency, which is these items down here. You have busts, portraits, deeds, and crests. These are the currencies that are used to upgrade your infrastructure within the town. Regular old gold is used to actually purchase things from those infrastructure buildings. I highly recommend that the very first thing you do is at least upgrade your Stagecoach network so that you're getting 3 heroes a week.
Great heroes can be found even here, in the mud and rain.
And also upgrading your hero barracks. It is possible to spend 8 more of each of these and get your Stagecoach network up to 4. I have not found that to be necessary just yet. Once you get it through your head that you absolutely are going to have to run away from some fights, it is almost always possible to get out of a fight with no more than 1 or 2 casualties. The folks that survive can then be sent back out. So rather than increasing the number of heroes available to you every week, I strongly recommend that you increase your barrack size. That way, after 2 or 3 weeks, you actually have got 12 heroes available over here, and that really will minimize the amount of juggling that you're having to do as you're sending new parties out. Now, as we go through, we're going to be talking more and more about the various buildings and what they do. Basically, what the buildings do is one of 2 things. They are either available to upgrade your heroes, or they are available to remove things from your heroes. The things that need to be removed from your heroes are various psychoses, general combat-related stress, diseases, any of those type of things. That's what these buildings here are used for. You can upgrade equipment to a certain extent. You can upgrade skills to a certain extent. You have 2 different sets of skills, one that are used during combat, one that are used while camping. For your initial 3 or 4 weeks, you're not going to be dealing with camping very much. You're going to be doing very short missions. That's all that your troops are going to be able to handle. So, we'll go ahead and click on the mighty embark button.
A mecca of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
You will notice there are 4 minor dungeons available to you. And then this is the final dungeon, which I believe you need a large number of level 6 characters to get through. You will note that our first 2 initial characters are level 1. The next 2 are level 0. I have actually been going through and resetting names on characters. However, I learned that it's perhaps better to wait until they're at least level 1 to do that. Otherwise, you're going to go through an awful lot of the names that you might be wanting to use. Here you have 7 abilities available for every character. You can only load 4 of them into your menu bar at any given time. You will start learning very quickly which are the abilities that seem to work very well with your characters and which are the abilities that perhaps don't exactly match up with the type of character that it is. The slots are very important. Abilities are available based on which party slot your character is in, as well as what party slot the targets are in. Reynald here is designed to be a front tier character. He is actually kind of a tank. Dismas, as a highwayman, can actually be utilized either in the 2nd position, utilizing some melee attacks, or in the 3rd position, utilizing mainly ranged attacks. I tend to put him in the 2nd position and use a mixture of both. Ventress is a plague doctor. He specializes in damage over time spells, some buffs, some very minor heals. This is my range slot, is the way I look at it. And then my final slot, the 4th slot, all the way at the back, presumably in the safest position, is my healer slot. The Vestal is quite simply the best healer in the game. So just about every time you have the opportunity to grab a Vestal off of the Stagecoach, you want to do that until you have 3 or 4 of them available. You will notice that the Warrens, the Weald, and the Cove are all currently locked. The only mission that is available to you currently is this mission, Scouting Out the Ruins. What you will do, I'm knocking things over here, is select your mission, You will look over what your potential rewards are: 3,000 gold, 4 family crests, and a stun stone. And then you will simply say, I'm ready to go, and click on provision.
The cost of preparedness, measured now in gold, later in blood.
Your provisions represent your supplies that your party will be taking along with them. You always want to have at least a couple shovels. For a short mission, you want to have at least 4 food. I tend to take 8. You also want to have at least 8 torches. Torches come in stacks of 8. You want to make sure that you have a full stack of 8 for a short mission. You do also have things like holy water, anti-venom. These things can be used on objects that you find within the game to make them safer for you to interact with. And we will embark, taking our 4 brave and not so bright adventurers down into the ruins. Be curious and be careful. I strongly recommend here that you lean toward being careful. Now, anytime you want to take a look at the abilities of your various adventurers, you can just right-click on them and get a full look. This is your map of the dungeon that you're going to be working through. Your mission currently is to explore 90% of the rooms. That means that on this particular map, you can skip 1 room and still succeed. So, what you do is here on your map, you click the room that you're going to be moving to next. This places you in a hallway. Then, utilizing either the A and D buttons for left and right movement, you just start wandering down the hallway. We've discovered something. You left click to see what it is. It's an unburned torch. We can then grab this, and aha, it drops into one of these inventory slots. These 16 inventory slots will become your bane eventually. You will have more items than you know what to do with, and you're going to end up having to make some very difficult choices. This is your light meter. The darker it is, the more dangerous it gets. Right this minute, we have Radiant Light, which gives us a 2x bonus to scouting, a 2x bonus to monsters being surprised. I tend to keep it at that level just because I'm paranoid like that.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
There are reasons to have it all the way down to dark. You get tougher monsters at that point that drop better treasure. However, I have not quite gotten myself to that level of intestinal fortitude yet. You'll left click on the door, and you will enter a room. And voila! We are in combat with 2 bone ravels, basically skeletons. So, you will notice that Ventress the Plague Doctor has a Noxious Blast available. It's a ranged attack. He can use it from the back 3 positions. It can hit the front either of the front 2 positions. We click on it. We toss it at somebody, and now they have received Blight, 4 damage per round. I will use a pistol shot to work on the same guy.
Press this advantage.
Oh, very nice.
Give them no quarter.
You have 2 different kinds of damage over time. So you have Blight, which is kind of a poison miasma, and you have Bleed. The trick is, with skeletons and other unholy creatures, they have no blood. Bleed attacks will not work on them. Our Crusader will step up with his Smite, which gives us a plus 15% benefit to unholy creatures like this one.
Continue the onslaught.
And voila!
Destroy them.
We have
all.
completed our first combat. We will take this 525 gold. We will take a look in this chest. We have a shovel, 25 more gold, and 2 busts. We will take it all, and at this point we will be taking our a break here so that we can keep ourselves within the magical 15-minute mark. Feel free to join us on the second video so that you can watch this party as they delve even deeper into the Darkest Dungeon.